Welcome back, everyone, to the latest edition of the FloTrack podcast. I'm Kevin Sully, joined by Gordon Mack, FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com if you'd like to email in. Also, you can comment live on our YouTube feed, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel on the FloTrack podcast channel. You can subscribe to the FloTrack channel as well, too. We got all sorts of news stories, new series is going up there. We got This Week in Track, we got race breakdowns. We have Gordon's NCAA show. We got my pro ranking show that go up on there. You can become a member on the YouTube page as well too. It's very exciting stuff. Gordon, is your latest NCAA rankings show up already, or is that in progress?
Oh, they're up. They went up yesterday, so or 2 days ago. Yeah, the latest rankings are up, so check them all out.
What a title!
Things have changed. Things have
I got
changed.
beef with the coaches rankings. What a title there! That's a new turn for you. Usually, you've been really in line with the coaches polls and the coaches rankings throughout the years that I've known you.
You're being sarcastic, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. Yes. No. Yeah, I dive into why the coaches ranking thing that came out yesterday is just not accurate. But you know, all the colleges treat it as you know as gold, and it's not. But it is what it is.
All right.
So
So you explain that in the show, basically, the difference
yes,
between your rankings and their rankings. Is this the one where they estimate the points? Like they have that calculation where they have but you have to have like a previous mark. So like when Mondo was a freshman, they didn't have him scoring. Is that the same system?
yeah, but also they keep track of like your top 35 athletes or something like that, or top 50. So they're
Right.
they're calculating people who are ranked 49th in the country,
Yeah.
and even if you're ranked 12th in the country, you're scoring 0 points. So you shouldn't be really considered. But
Yeah.
to each its own.
All right. Well, that's exciting. People can check that out. On the Pro Ranking Show, I'm going to be talking about little 60-meter hurdles, going to debut those rankings, and then updates to the 60. And then I would update the 800, but not much has happened. Really, things are going to get going this weekend with Milrose, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Karlsruhe World Indoor Tour on Friday. That's where I think what I'm going to do, Gordon, is if people haven't shown up by this weekend, I'm taking them out of the rankings, basically, because I want to make them reflect this indoor season. So if there's no mark from an athlete, even if they're great after this weekend, or actually, let me back up. If I'm pretty sure they're not going to run, so like Elaine Thompson, hurrah! If I don't see her this weekend, I think I'm going to just take her out of the rankings. And then if she runs once and runs fast, then she's going to go right back in. But because I want to make them reflect reality. I don't want to have the top five with people who've never run indoors this season. Like that doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what sucks about our sport is not all the athletes have the exact same type of schedule. The way every basketball player has the same schedule, every football player has the same schedule, but every track athlete they do whatever they want. So
Mhm. Maybe I'll wait
yeah,
2 weeks. Maybe I that was an idle threat from me. Maybe I'm already backtracking here because well, is uh is Grant running this weekend? Grant Holloway?
Holloway? I
Yeah.
don't think so. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think
but
so.
I have a feeling eventually he's going to run a 60 hurdle. And he's at
Yeah,
top of
yeah.
mind just because I did the 60 hurdle rankings. He's obviously going to be number one as the world record holder. All right, let's get into the show. Um, First off, some scary news in the world of NCAA cross country and track and field. Saw this yesterday. Oklahoma State distance runner Isai Rodriguez was injured in a car crash in Oklahoma. He was riding with a wrestler on the Oklahoma State wrestling team when, according to this ESPN article, he got into an accident. They hit an oncoming vehicle, and the car left the roadway, overturned several times before coming to rest in a ditch. The other driver, fortunately, also was not injured. Very scary situation here. Dave Smith is quoted in the story as saying he seemed to be in good spirits and feeling pretty good. It thankfully didn't seem like anything real serious. I think he's about to be released, running a few tests and had to keep him overnight. So very scary story there. Glad that the that the people involved are okay.
Yeah, I mean, Dave I texted Dave as well. He said miraculously, seems like everyone involved is going to be okay. Um,
Mhm.
I think there was based on the way the accident unfolded, I think there are some thoughts that this could have been
Yeah, much
something
worse.
very, very serious. But the fact that everyone is going to be able to one survive, but two be able to continue being a you know a top tier athlete. Like there's no like broken leg or amputation or anything like that. So that's always good.
Yeah, it says the wrestler involved is in fair condition, internal arm, leg, and head injuries. Interesting part of the story too. Oklahoma State football coordinator was one of the cars that Ferrari, who's the name of the wrestler, passed and when he went into the no passing zone and passed him and cut back in. And that coordinator, Casey Dunn, pulled him to safety after the SUV caught fire. So just an incredible story. And yeah, you read the details of this and you realize how lucky people were to get out in good condition or fair condition. We hope everybody has a full recovery. Obviously, we've covered Isai for several years, um, and enjoyed watching him race.
Yeah, the Flow Wrestling team at Flow Sports, they were shocked to hear this news the same way we were. Oklahoma State's got a great wrestling program, the same way they have a great running program, and it would have been incredibly tragic if this turned out to be something worse than what it was. But hey, it's why you wear a seatbelt, right?
Mhm.
That's the what we learned from this is why you wear a seatbelt. It works.
Everybody did have a
Seatbelts work.
seatbelt. Everybody did have a
Seatbelts
seatbelt
work.
in the car. Yeah, that was interesting. Good news to read there. Yeah. Whew. When you saw this story, you read this story to me yesterday. Not even the full. You just read that he had been in an accident, and I was just shook up immediately. But when you read it, you read that hey, Dave had already been there, spoken to him, had seen him in the hospital, and he was going to be okay. So big sigh of relief in the NCAA sports community and the Oklahoma State community as well.
Yeah. Wear your seatbelt. That's what you gotta do.
Be careful out there on the roads. It's not worth going that fast. Slow down. All right, let's move on. A thing mo, Gordon. I'm very excited about this story. She's running the mile at Milrose, and I'm just ecstatic about this. I saw the headline, and I give her just so much credit for jumping in this race because this is a legit mile field. This isn't her just running an off distance in a minor meet. No, she is running against a stacked group of athletes here. You have the top four women from the U.S. Olympic trials in this race. You have two recent NCAA champions in this race in Anna Camp Bennett and Sage Herda. You have Constance Klosterhalfen, bronze medalist in the 5,000, sub four in the 1,500. Jessica Hall is sub four in the 1,500. Josette Norris is sub four in the 1,500. This is going to be so much fun to watch. And seeing her in any event is cool. But I think there was an air of inevitability in the 800, at least when it came to the Milrose games. Because you see the field and you're like, all right, Thingmo, we just watched her dominate. What more is she going to prove at the Milrose games? What's the most she can get out of the Milrose games in an 800? Probably not a lot because we expect her to win. She go and win. But this race really opens up limitless possibilities because you look at this field and it looks like basically an Olympic trials final, missing a couple people, but adding in some international athletes in Klosterhalfen and Hull that make it really resemble a top flight 1,500-meter field. So I couldn't be more excited for this. I give her a ton of credit for doing it. I don't know what it means long term. And I also am completely at a loss trying to predict a mark, trying to predict a place. I have no idea. This race goes fast. Purrier ran that 4:16 a couple of years ago, but I don't even know where to begin in trying to figure out where a Thing Mo would finish in this field because it seems as if her talent doesn't have any limits. but also because this competition is legitimately tough competition.
Yeah, I try to think about how this race will play out as well because if this is like a 4:29 race, I think she can win. But I don't think it's going to be, right? I think it's going to be low 4:20s, high 14s. There's going to be a lot of PRing that goes down. I mean,
Hmm.
El Purio ran 4:16 in this race. I think that there's going to be, you know, two athletes who break two athletes who break 4:20 and then like three athletes who break 4:25 or something like that. I think it's
Yeah,
going to be in that type of because you look at these PBs, you see some 4:30s here, some 4:31s. Those are all going to
yeah,
get shattered. Like Jessica Hall, she's not running 4:31. She's going to run like
right.
4:21.
Get rid of the
So,
PBs. Look at the
yeah,
1500 conversions, except Purrier. Purrier's PB is a legit indoor PB.
yeah. And
Klosterhoffen as
Klosterhoffen.
well, because that was the
Yeah.
same race that they did that. Everybody else's PB is not really representative of how good they are.
I've been trying to think of how I think this race is going to play out. I think it's going to play out. I think Athing Mo is going to go to the back. I think she's going to just try to ride the train for the first, you know, 1,000 meters.
Hmm.
And then when people start falling off, she's going to be like, all right, hold on, hold on. She's going to like try to keep holding on, holding on. And then there's going to be a point where she's not going to be able to hold on anymore. And she's still going to finish strong, but someone like El Purier is just going to pull away from her. And I think a thing ends up running like 4:20, 4:27. So I think she ends up running.
I have no clue how it's going to go. No, I'm at a
No,
loss.
4:28, 4:28, 4:28. She's going
Usually
4:28.
I'm not saying I'm right about most things or really anything with this, but or with any time we make a hypothetical prediction about how would X do in Y race. But this one I'm completely at a loss because on one hand, like I just read the credentials of all those women, so it's like Anna Kent Bennett just won the 1500 at NCAA's. That just in the same meet where Thing Mo won the quarter, Anna Kent Bennett ran or sorry, Thing Mo won the 8. Or no, sorry, what did she run? She ran the 4 at NCAA.
400.
Sorry. Yeah, it's crazy to think that she could beat the person who in the same meet won the 1500. And then you look at there's a bunch of women in here who we'd say are even a level above her in terms of experience and PBs. So then you're thinking, all right, is Mo going to finish near the back? But then one number pops into my head, Gordon. You know what that number is?
What?
155. Is it wise to bet against someone who's run 155 in the 800 when they go to the 1500? If we only knew that one fact, what would we think her potential is in the 1500? The problem is we think of her as 4'8", as we should, because she's the NCAA champion in the quarter. And that's ridiculous to think. But if you just look at her 800 PB, you're like, all right, she's going to hang. She's going to do exactly what you said, or maybe even better. But then on the flip side, you're thinking, well, who's she gonna beat? There are no weak links in this field, and it's going to be really tough. So I have both competing thoughts in my head, and that's why this is so fascinating to me. And I'm so appreciative as a track fan that she's doing it because we rarely get this sort of attempt by an athlete.
Yeah,
And I
this
don't
is
care that
like
it's early January or early season. I don't care it's indoors. The fact that she's doing it against this good field, it counts for something in my book.
yeah, this reminds me of like the fun like who would have won in a 600? Usain Bolt or like Mo Farah. You do like these weird
Yeah,
like dream scenarios on these weird off events. This is exactly what everyone would be thinking. What would a thing Mo do in a mile? Right? It's like that.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, she has clearly the speed. She can kick 155, but can she do that for 4 laps? I don't know. I mean, she's a world class athlete, so It's not like she's going to need to stop and get a cup of water and be like, have to take a break after lap 3 because she
Yeah.
won't be able to handle it because clearly she can handle pushing her body to extreme limits. But you just don't know. You don't know. Is her body? I mean, Donovan Brazier, we were
Yeah.
like kind of
Yeah.
surprised when he ran his 1500, his 337, and that's why I'm thinking if Donovan did that, Donovan was not. I mean, Donovan was like a 4.8 guy. Even though Donovan did do a little bit of miling in high school, but he became mainly a 4.8 type person the way he was training. I think similar to a Thing Mo.
Yeah.
But if Donovan can run 335, 337, I have to think that a Thing Mo can at least break 430. And then
Yeah.
I don't know though if she can run sub 420 though, as Tampa Eagle just mentioned in the comments. Because that if you're running sub 420, that would be like Donovan Brazier running like 332, which maybe he could do now that I think about it, because Donovan Brazier is a freak athlete. But first race, I
S-
don't think we're going to get craziness. I think first race, there's a little bit of confusion. You like your body hasn't been to this point, right? And she's
Right.
never pushed herself like this, right? So she might be like, "Whoa, I'm not ready for this." But again, I think she's going to break the world record eventually in her career. And if I think you're going to break the world record, I have to think that you can handle a mile. So yeah, I'm just like you.
Yeah.
My brain goes back and forth like it's like the devil and angel over your shoulders. You have like she can do it, she can't do it, she can do it, she can't do it, and so I'm kind of like stuck in the middle. That's why I think she's gonna finish. Okay, I'm gonna predict her finish. She's gonna finish one. I think she finishes fifth, and she finishes in the 420s. She finishes
Yeah.
fifth. I'm just go fifth. Fifth place is what I'm going with. Which is
That's a safe pick. That's a safe
yeah,
pick. That is a hedge right there. And I don't blame you for hedging because I don't have any clue either. Sometimes when we talk about a race going in, we say, "Man, anything could happen. No result would surprise me." But that's not actually true, right? Like there's definitely things that could surprise you. This with her, I literally mean it. She could finish any place and I would not be surprised by any one of those outcomes at all. And part of that, most of that is because of her, but the other part is just how good of a field she's running it. Now, if you add in Safan Hassan, Faith Kipyegon, Laura Mir to this field, then I would genuinely say I would be shocked if she finished, top 2 or top 3. But with this field, again, the 155 is what throws me off. If she never ran a quarter last year, Gordon, let's just say she did her freshman year at A&M and then all the way through to the Olympics, she only ran the 8 and then she ran 155. And let's just say we had no 400-meter reference points for her at all. Like going back to high school, like she only ran the 800. I think we would think she has a better chance at the mile. I
yeah.
think
Her
her
400.
400-meter PB is holding us back from
Yes.
seeing what's possible with her. I think her 400-meter NCAA title makes us think she can't do it. And in many cases, that would be true with athletes because it would give us an indication of how they're training. But a thing Mo could completely break that mold. She could totally change how we think of running and track and field in terms of what athlete can excel at what event.
Yeah, it's incredible that her success is what we think is going to be her downfall in this, which makes
You have
sense
too much
because
speed.
yeah, too much speed. You're too much of a good thing. Imagine coach being like, "Listen here, son. Listen here, lady. You have too much speed. You got to slow down. If you want to be world class, you got to be slower. You got to be a
Yeah,
slower runner." That's basically what we're saying. She's too
yeah,
fast for the mile. She's her speed makes her slow, which makes no sense when we say it out loud on a podcast. We sound stupid, but that's what we're known, right? We've always known that like the faster you are, the slower you are at the longer events, right? That's just like track
yeah. It
101.
goes both ways.
We don't
Well,
we don't expect
we
Christian
see people
Coleman
fitting
to
in this
break 4 in the
continuum,
mile, you know?
or even a quarter for him. We don't expect him to
Yeah.
be a great. 400-meter runner. We don't have now Fred Curley, Shrika Jackson, those people have kind of shaken things up. But this is a whole different level because you're going from 400, which people define as a long sprint, to the 1500, which is just completely absurd. This is She's basically taking what she did in AAUs. Remember? She won the what she won 3 of the 4 events and got second in the other one. She went 2, 4, 8, 15. But okay, you could do that in AAUs. You're not supposed to be able to do that when you become a pro runner. You're not supposed to be relevant in more than 2 events. And even 2 is a stretch if you're going across a big bridge like you are with the 4 to the 8. And listen, maybe she'll run this. Maybe she'll get 12th and she'll run a 428. And then we'll be like, all right, that was amazing still. That's still an incredible effort. But there's clearly a limit here. But I'm not
So
going to count on that outcome happening. I'm not going to count on that happening because, again, I don't want to bet against a 155 800. Like when her PB in the 800 is like 2 seconds better than everybody else in the field, that's worth something in the mile.
so here's the thing. We only get 3 more days of thinking about a Thing Mo miler in an unknown way, right? Because it's going to be known on Saturday at the Melrose
Yeah,
Games.
I know.
So, but like
Living in uncertainty,
we
Gordon.
there eventually it's going to be certain, and like there's a possibility that she runs 428, gets 12th, right? And it is what it is.
Which are still good though.
But be,
Let me just say it's
but once that happens, we won't really be able to have this conversation again, right? Because then it'll be
mhm,
unknown.
mhm.
So I'm going to have
Yep.
the conversation that we only will be able to that we may never be able to have again. Okay? Because if she gets 12th and runs 428, we'll never be able to have this conversation again. So because we're coming up on the deadline of having this conversation, I'm just going to do it. Here we go. In a
Okay.
world where she ends
Sure.
up finding a way to run like sub 420, gets second in this race or whatever, blows everyone's mind. Holy shit. A 400-meter runner is now one of the best milers in the world. What do you think she should do? And what do you think she can do? Could we see a world where our 1500-meter champion is anchoring the 4x4? Like,
It
are
would
we going to see
it
that?
would it would usher in a completely different way of viewing track and field. Like someone in the chat says, um, any other athlete had that same range over 400 to the 1500. And someone brings up Semenya was a sub 4 1500-meter runner. Um, so like Semenya would be one, but there's only been 2 people who have done the 4-8 double at Worlds or Olympics, one woman and one man. So to extend it from 4 to 15 is just crazy. And with Semenya, you also have to bring up, I mean, she's not allowed to compete in any of those events anymore. So I think Mo would still be able to do it. I looked it up just because I was curious. The 8-15 double is possible at the US champs this year. But then you're talking about this person's potentially the best 400-meter runner in the United States running the 8 and the 15. I I don't have an answer to your question. Like I just think everything is on the table at that point.
Maybe this is like, at this rate, she's starting with the 400 and going to the 8 and now the 15, by like 2024, is she towing the line against Molly Seidel and like
Yeah,
getting ready to
she's
run the
just
Olympic marathon trials? Is that what's happening? Is
yeah.
that what she's building up towards? We're going to see her run the 5K in 2023, 10K and then running the marathon. I don't know. I mean, what do you think the early futures are on a Thing Mo's marathon debut? Like, what should we set that over under at?
225. Let's go 225 for the
225? A
year.
Thing Mo 225?
Yeah,
Okay.
2036. Let's get
She
after it. Let's
goes
get
out and
ahead of the
runs like
curve. You're right.
she runs like 218. If she runs like 418 on Saturday though, you'll be like, oh, maybe she's gonna run like 220
Yeah,
in the marathon.
I change my pick. So we'll do the rest of the Milrose preview on on Friday's show. There's obviously a lot to discuss in the men's Wanamaker mile. The 800s are both compelling. Got some good 60s, 400s as well. But on Friday, you got the World Indoor Tour in Karlsruhe, which I wanted to talk about here. We got Mondo going in the pole vault. Gordon, you can watch this meet live on Flow, by the way. I'm looking at this men's 3K, which is very, very good. You got a lot of big names in that one. Berhu Aragawi of Ethiopia has Olympic experience now. Abel Kipsang, Jacob Krop. Um, you also have these are updated start lists. I thought Mohammed
Yeah,
Katir was in this
yeah,
race and
he
Lemlem Hatia.
scratched.
And okay,
Yeah, so if you
gotcha,
refresh,
gotcha,
we'll see the full, updated start lists.
gotcha. Wale was in
Okay.
there as well. I think he has scratched as well. But what are you looking forward to seeing? You got Andrew Pazzi, Pascal Martineau Lagarde in the high hurdles. Um, that could be fun. Pazzi's really good indoors. And as I mentioned, Mondo go in the vault, which means you have to put your world record watch hat on, Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, the 3K, with Katir kinda scratching, it kinda changed a little bit to not be a, "Whoa, are we gonna see, like, a sub
Mhm.
7:30 type race?" I think we're gonna see a low 7:30 race here, and I think it's just gonna get the ball rolling for future 3Ks at the World Indoor Tour because,
Mhm.
um just over time, people are going to be ratcheting it down. Jakob Ingebrigtsen's going to enter the chat. He's going to run a fast 3K at one of these World Indoor Tours. It's going to be, it's going to be good. It's just kind of like the rust buster for the world in a way when it comes to the 3K. Um, and then
Yeah.
I'm excited for the 8. Elliot Giles always finds a way to kind of surprise us with his 800-meter
Yeah.
performances. He's a gamer when it comes to the indoor 800. Uh, Him going up against Collins Kiprutu should be interesting. Could see a fast 800-meter mark there. And like you said, yeah, Mondo Duplantis, pole vault. I mean, what's
Yeah.
an international world indoor tour meet without Mondo Duplantis in the pole vault? Like, I don't think it counts unless he's there. Like, you're not certified as a world indoor tour
Yeah.
unless Mondo Duplantis competes at your meet. He's the official certifier. Am I there?
Yeah.
No, didn't count. Okay, am
It's
I
not
there? Yes.
doesn't
All
count.
right, this counts.
You have to fill that in on the paperwork before you get your accreditation
Yes.
for your meet.
Will
Women's 60 hurdles could be good. Megan Tapper, Danielle Williams of Jamaica. Also, women's 60, Kambuji of Switzerland. She's run really well in the 60 in the past. Malika Mahambo, the long jump star, is running the 60 as well. Daryl Nada, Tatiana Pinto. So this will be again. It's just good to get some marks. Good to get some head to head against real competition, so that way we can start sorting out. Okay, who's improved from outdoors last year? Who's a name to watch? Who can maybe get on a run between now and World Indoors in Belgrade and surprise? And then going beyond that, who can parlay that into outdoor success as well too. So I'm excited to see this meet. All the World Indoor Tours are solid. Like they get good fields. I mean, obviously it hosted Grant Holloway's world record last year. Jakob showed up and dropped some fast times. We saw the emergence of some names as well too in the longer distance races last year. So I'm just excited that we're getting going, Gordon. We're getting indoors is here in for pro track. It's exciting.
y- yeah, and basically a majority of the World Athletics indoor tour meets are live on FloTrack. You got the Karlsruhe, Ostrava,
Mhm.
Berlin. Um, Let me keep on going down the list. Metz, Levine, Birmingham, Dusseldorf, Turin, at Madrid and Paris are all live on Flow, and then also the two US
Yeah.
based meets, Melrose Games and New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Those are live on Flow, but for Australian and Canada audiences. But the other ones,
Mhm.
that's live on Flow for American, Australia, and Canada. The two US meets are just live in Canada and Australia. But basically, all the top meets from the indoor season are going to be live on Flow. And it's going to be wild. I'm excited. Get some Mono Duplantis action, right? That's what it's all about.
Mhm.
Who did you say was going to break the
Well,
world record first? Mondo or Krauser? I forget.
ooh, I think I took Krauser. I think you took Mondo.
Okay.
I
So
I believe. Krauser's throwing in Milrose. So whenever that competition is, do 1 minute after when it starts, and that's when the world record is getting broken by Ryan Krauser. That World Indoor Tour Birmingham has a pretty cool headline attached to it because it says Laura Mir is going to go for the 1K world record at that meet. I'm looking up the mark right now, 1,000 indoors. Maria Mutola's 2:30.94. I think she can do it. I think she can do it. 30 seconds a lap for 5 laps. That gets you 2:30. I think Mir is perfect for this 1K.
Here's the thing, though. If Athing Mo
Mm.
just showed up, she's beating her, right?
If a thing Mo
Ruining the
runs
moment.
like a 4:19, all everything's gonna be like every conversation about tracks and be like, but you think Mo wasn't in the race, right? You're like, Kevin, you're talking about the high hurdles. It's like, well, a thing Mo wasn't there.
Athing Mo should troll all of these record attempts, right? So basically,
Mm,
when they're like record attempt, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, what time's the race at? Okay, that's what 6:30. That's what 12 o'clock Central Time in Texas. All right, I'm gonna go to
yeah.
my track. I'm gonna get my phone out. I'm gonna run when you run. I'm gonna run as faster than you, and then when you think you broke the world
Yeah.
record, I'll be like, and actually, I just ran half a second faster."
Do you think Mir can get this? She's run 2:31.93. She's has the third fastest time in history. That was 2017. And you obviously look at her PR. She looks like she's a good candidate for this mark. Outdoors, different story. I remember Faith Kipyegon kept going for the 1K record and couldn't get it, but this one is more attainable. I mean, Muir has a 156.800, and she's got a 354.1500, both from last year too. It's not like those were old marks.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I mean, any indoor world record in my mind is possible. Even the major
Mhm,
ones, they're like indoors is built for records. It's what it's about. It's
right.
about breaking world records. Like world records
Mhm.
are meant to be broken on the indoor season. That should be the tagline for the season. Indoors, we're built for record or for world records. I think she
But
does
then
it.
you don't want too many because then they get really hard, and then you have no more records the next year.
No, everyone
You
breaks it
got
by
to
0.01 seconds, and then we can do that 100 times over 100 years. Like, fine.
you
That's what's great about breaking world
you got
records.
to
You have
sprinkle in the records.
100, like 100 intervals between a second, right? So that means you could only have to lower time by 1 second over 100 years, and you could have 100 different instances of a world record. It makes you kind of think world records, the fact that we keep track of time to the hundredth of a second is maybe a reason why we have more record breaking than we should. Because imagine if we didn't round to the hundredth. Imagine if we only rounded to the tenth of a second. We might have less world records, right?
Yes,
I'm
I
right there,
think.
right?
Am I
Yeah.
hosting this with?
Imagine
Am
if
I hosting this pod with Matthew McConaughey? Did you
imagine if
just
we only
switch? I know he
rounded
lives in
records to the
Austin. Did he
full
come here?
second. If we rounded records to the full second, we would only have like 3 world
Well, then
records
you'd have to.
ever in the 100, right? It would be crazy.
Well, then you'd have to. But then, how would you? When two people run 9, how would you tell who wins? You need the time to see who wins the
The
race.
eye test. You just look and be like,
I.
who did it first? Eye
Time
test.
is like a flat circle, Kevin.
Yeah,
Thank
eye
you,
test.
Cole. Time is a flat circle. I appreciate it. Okay. What's next on here? Oh, Clemson going to compete to the Penn Relays. We've had Houston make an announcement, South Carolina, and now Clemson will be there. They won the sprint medley relay in 2018, and that was their first time they'd won since 1992. So we will, of course, be there at the end of April in Franklin Field. Gordon going back to Philadelphia. It's going to be exciting for you. So another strong NCAA program in attendance at Penn Relays this year, Gordon.
Yeah, Clemson. They've had a roller coaster of the past few years, right? With the whole potentially losing their men's program. Russell Dinkins coming in hot on the top rope, be like,
Mhm.
not so fast, sir. We are going to keep running track here in South Carolina, which is great. And they're saving that program. And now we get to watch them at the Penn Relays. Gotta love it. Ryan Fenton's going to love it. alumni, our colleague here at FloTrack.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
he's he ran this. I think he. I'm not sure if he still has it, but I think he had the steeplechase record at Clemson. But I'm not sure if it's still there. Someone might have beaten it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think he
Maybe
has it.
he doesn't. You know what would have
I
been
don't
kind
think
of
he has
funny
it.
though? If
Hmm.
Ryan like still had that record and it was probably a weak record because he probably ran like
Wow, just throwing
8:59 or
Ryan under the
something like
bus
that,
there.
and he's be like, "Well, if they cancel the program, my record lives in infamy because they'll never break it again." He did not think that, of course not. He was very, but
Wow.
be like, "Yeah, well, on the plus side, I'm forever the record holder." I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Um, Tom, one of Kevin's Kings, asked, "Will there be Kevin's Kings VIP event at Milrose?" Um, there might be, but I won't be there. So, I mean, Tom, you could host it, maybe. You're the first member of the group. Uh, yeah, we'll be here. I'll be watching um, from my couch and then talking about it after.
we
But stay tuned. We're gonna go. We're gonna get to some meets eventually.
yeah, but also we did members only podcasts end of December last
Yeah,
year, right? And we'll probably do another one end of January here.
yeah,
Then the members only podcast. Figure out what we're going to talk about. Probably react to Thing
yeah.
Mo. But
No,
just get that going.
well, if you're a member, send us an email or a message and let us know if you have strong feelings on the topic. I was kicking around some ideas as well too, but the members, if they want something, we can do the special pod last time. Yeah, that was exciting. We went like 45 minutes just for the members only pod. It was cool. Probably our best
Yeah,
pod, and not that many people heard it as hear
yeah,
this. But more and more
yeah.
people are hearing it because more and more people are becoming members. So it's exciting. Okay, let's talk about USA's. USATF announced officially that it's going to be in Eugene. I think, and I was talking to another media member about this, and his conclusion was basically it was like it was this was previously decided because it was that they'd said it at the meeting, the annual meeting, but they just forgot to announce it. I don't know if that was the case. Like, or maybe just people they assumed everybody knew. I assumed it was in Eugene because the World Championships are in Eugene and most USA's are in Eugene. So it didn't make much sense to me that the one year it wouldn't be in Eugene would be the year when Eugene is hosting. That wouldn't make for Worlds. That wouldn't make much sense for me just based on how they do things. But now it's in a release. So now we can see it.
Do you think USA's is going to be in Eugene forever now, except for or 2028?
2026 might be interesting because non championship year. But see, other sites don't get that thrilled about hosting on non championship years. But also Eugene will probably say, "Well, we need a break." Because this is the thing. A lot of meet organization comes down to relying on volunteers. And there's this stretch at Hayward where you have pre-classic, you have the Oregon high school state meet, you have the NCAA championships, that you have USA's, and in this case you have Worlds. There's other meets that can be jammed in there as well too. Sometimes it's like if it's a year where Oregon's hosting Pac-12s. It just gets to be a lot where you have the same volunteers that you're asking to show up and help make this meet run. And waiting to 2026 to take a breather seems like an awfully long time, but they built this facility to host these types of meets. Now, Mount Sac did as well too, and obviously Des Moines hosted USA's in the recent past. Sacramento's hosted USA's in the recent past, but I think 26 would be the first time. But I also could see maybe 25 them saying, "All right, let's just pass," or 23, let's just give us a break. Maybe 23 going into the trials because the trials is going to be a uh, hosting a trials is a much bigger effort because there's a longer meet than a USA's, right?
Yeah.
10 days versus 4.
Do you
Long way to say
think
I don't know.
LA? Do you think LA will host the 2028 trials?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the only question would be, will it be in Mount Sac or will they do it actually in the Olympic Stadium? And I'm not up to date with exactly how that Olympic Stadium is going to work. I remember talking to LA resident and photographer of the stars, Kirby Lee, about it back in 2020 when we pre-pandemic, and he was explaining just how like the logistics of the track, like it was going to be elevated and built up and all this stuff. So I don't know if that's all going to be in full force for the trials, but I would think it's going to be in Southern California in some capacity, whether or not it's Mount Sac or at the Olympic Stadium. That's an assumption. Nothing's been announced yet, but I would guess that's what they'll do.
Yeah, before we know it, we're gonna be there, man. 6 years from now, boom, we'll
You're
be
gonna
in
be
our
there?
40s, and we'll be ready to
Uh,
watch some watch Newberry Park go 1, 2, 3 at the Olympic Games. Right? That's the plan.
yeah. Atlanta hosted trials in '96, the last time the Olympics were in the United States.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anything
I
else
think
happen?
what they like to do is they like to do it there so they can work out any kinks that they'll, because as much as we think everybody pays attention to the trials, and a lot of people do, the Olympics, obviously, that's the high pressure moment. So if you have logistical issues or you're trying to figure out something, you want to get that sorted out before the big show comes to town. And that's why you'd want them to host the trials. So they have the opportunity. I'm sure they'll host a lot of meets though. I mean, that facility is brand new and it was built to host big time track meets, just like the Hayward Field is.
You been watching any good Netflix shows lately? I have a
I'm
suggestion of
watching
one.
what's the one that you were I forgot. I'm watching the HBO one that you told me yesterday. We were talking about it.
Oh,
Search
Search
Party.
Party.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you finish it?
20 No, no, no. I'm still in season 1, but the fact that it's 25 minutes an episode is really appealing to me because I get intimidated sometimes if it's an hour. I'm just like, "Ah, I'm kind of tired. I don't know if I can make it." But
Speaking of videos on the screen, did you wind up watching the Sha'Carri Richardson documentary?
no, I need to put that on the list of things to do. It's been kind of hectic in my house as I mentioned the last couple weeks. So I need to get my
Do you know what
TV.
they don't? Do you know what they don't talk about?
Did you watch the whole thing?
No, but I read the review of it. Do you know it's not mentioned once?
Well, the marijuana suspension because they filmed it before
Yeah.
she got suspended. I don't. Do you
Well,
expect them to
no,
transport through time and space? What did you think? It said it was shot over 2 days at the trials. I mean, you could go back and add
the
stuff,
interview
obviously,
wasn't
but I
shot. The interview wasn't shot over those 2 days.
that's what it said. It said the film
The
was shot over
interview
2 days. It said the film, and she was in the that was in the film. I think it was.
they've had time to like,
Regardless,
hey, can we?
I get your,
Yeah,
I get your point. The larger point is this is an interesting thing. If you're making a film about it, you should talk about it and maybe go back and
talk
add
about
that
the.
part to the story. Yes, yes, I get it.
Yeah.
You should actually watch it. Don't read a review and base it on that. That's come on.
Well, I just
Hold on.
want to
I'm
know
look.
if they talked. I'm not judging the merits of what it is. I'm just saying, will they talk about the most interesting thing that's going on with her
Yeah.
being removed from the the Olympics? That's
Yes.
like a huge deal.
And they
Well, the
didn't.
fastest runner in the
Right.
U.S. was like, "Nah, you can't come." I
Yeah.
want to know about that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I'm looking through the comments here. Jilly says IWF scoring tables would have her at 4:15.98. That's amazing. That's talking about a thing, though. Obviously, converting that. I'm assuming that's coming from the 800 time, not the 400-meter time. Um, Someone says, got to start adding Mary Beth Sant to the 60 at these indoor meets. Yeah, she's legit. She's going to be in my rankings now. Mary Beth Sant Price, 708. She's also run, what did she run? Just run a 710 this year as well, too. 711. So she's run 708 and 711. I'm really excited to see her in some bigger races this year. Um, Someone asked, what's the pay like for college coaches? You can Google it. If they're a state employee, it's all there. You can pick your college coach of your home state and Google it. You can find all the bonuses, base pay. It's all out there.
Kevin, here's a question for you. Speaking of Mary Beth St. Price,
Yeah.
She's 26 years
Mhm.
old, runs 7:08. Should Do you think she's going to be able to compete at make a world team, one at indoors or even outdoors for US? Like her 100 PR is only 11:08, so she has
Mhm.
yet to really put together. This is like the first time she's put together like a world class time in the 60 here because her hundreds and her 200s are not close to being world class. So is she a sleeper for top three at trials in 2022 in Eugene, or even a sleeper for top two when it all comes down to it, when all the other top female sprinters get on the line?
Yeah. I think the 60 is the better shot, even though it's only 2 spots than the 100. She's run well in the 60 in the past. And yeah, these times are at altitude and everybody was running quick over in Lubbock, but I still want to see it. Like 708, if she gets down to she shaves just a little bit of time, I think that's a possibility. Let's look ahead. I know we're going to do Milrose on Friday, but let's look at this Milrose 60. Hobbs, Parker, Thomas, Williams, Gardner, Briscoe, Abbott, Jackson. So yeah, she obviously would have fit right in here. I think Aaliyah Hobbs is going to run and has been running really well indoors. I think she's someone to look out for. Micaiah Briscoe, Javian Oliver, and then like Tiana Daniels. If Richardson runs, got to keep an eye on her. But yeah, I think she's going to, Sam Price is going to get in the final at the very least in Spokane. And then she can make something happen. Outdoors is tough. If your PB is north of 11 in a world where 10-8, 10-7 seems like the new standard to be relevant, it's tough, but maybe she takes the 60 success and is able to build off of it.
Yeah, I mean her previous PR in the 60 before this was 7:18, so and that was from 2019.
But she
So
ran she placed pretty high if I'm remembering in college, right?
no, I mean her fastest mark is 7:18 before that. So I don't
'Cause
think
she was
so.
at Oregon. Did she stay at Oregon the whole time or did she I think she thought she transferred.
Did she go to Colorado?
Uh, yeah, at the end, I
Like
think, or
Colorado
Colorado
State?
State.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can find this. Here we go, Colorado State. Yeah, where's her I thought she ran a good 60 that last year. Oh, she made the meet.
She made the
She got
meet.
second in Mountain
Yeah.
West, made the meet, and went out in the semis.
It's gonna be
But
interesting. No one's really talking
and
about her.
then
Be interesting to see
four
how she
by four
does.
by, and then the team made the 4x1, so she didn't make it in the 100 her senior year. That was in 19, and then at Oregon it was just 4x1s, I think. So I don't think she ever made a 100 NCAA championship meet. So the 60's been her better event. I think it's fair to say. So yeah, keep an eye on her. There's stories like this all the time of a person who pops up in indoors, and you're like, oh, okay, I remember them from college. And then, because all it takes is a couple good weeks. US indoors is next month. You only need to keep it going for a little bit longer, and then you get on the team. But I think Hobbs and Briscoe are going to be tough, along with Oliver and that other group that I mentioned. Let's see if there's any other questions. You got any questions? Put them in the chat before we go. You never told me your Netflix recommendation, Gordon. You just like brought it up and then didn't say anything.
Oh yeah. It's not on Netflix. It's on HBO Max. Station 11. It's a
Oh yeah, yeah,
pandemic based show. Have you
yeah.
watched it? You finished it?
Watch the first. No, the first two or three. Well, it gets away from
Okay.
pandemic, doesn't it? Or does it does it
Yeah.
loop back to pandemic?
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little interesting. I read a review saying it rewards patient viewers. So that
Mm.
makes me think that you have to get through 5 hours of content before you can get the payoff in the final 3 hours type thing. Where like
Wait, did
you
you watch
don't
the whole thing?
enjoy the last 3 hours unless you watch the first 5 hours. So,
Did you watch
it's
the whole
only
thing
10.
or no?
No, I'm like halfway through a 10
Oh, so
season.
you don't know if
Halfway
that's
through 10
happening.
episodes. No, but the review
So you,
said that, like, the second half makes it worth watching the first half.
wait, are you just reading reviews of everything now? Is this the new Gordon
Yeah.
Mack? I read the review of
Mhm.
this Richardson documentary. Read the review of
Yeah, read
this.
reviews. Yeah, come on.
So
I'm trying.
you can decide how you spend your time. Colt, have you seen Station 11? Colt,
No,
is your mic on?
I don't have
No.
HBO, but
Okay. What
Ooh.
are you watching? Anything good, Colt?
uh, the playoffs. I don't know. Not nothing
Okay,
really.
there we go. All right. Colt wasn't ready. Colt wasn't ready for that. I'm sorry, Colt. I shouldn't have thrown it your way. We'll try to do calls again on Friday though. We'll put the info on the ticker on the bottom so that way people can call in. We'll do that might be fun because it's Milrose, right? People can call in with a Milrose prediction. Have you been holding your
Yeah.
mic the whole time, by the way?
Yeah.
He
I'm holding
has,
it.
Okay,
yes.
no table, huh?
No, I'm
Just holding it.
downstairs. I'm sitting on the
Strength
couch.
training.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting on a couch. Got my
Okay,
blanket
and you're gonna dunk.
right here.
Oh yeah, where's the dunk
My
video?
dunk. Oh, the dunk videos. Yes. For those keeping track, Kevin told me to take things slow. So the first, I'm in week 4 of
Mm-hmm.
training,
Are you reading
and
reviews for dunking right now? Is that what's happening?
I'm in week 4 of training for the dunk. End of this week, I will do my first dunk attempt. I'm not going to succeed in said dunk. It's gonna let me know what my baseline is. I didn't want my baseline to want to be what it was coming off of December of doing nothing. I want it to be coming off of January of working out regularly, so I can have like a
Yep.
better baseline. It's still gonna be a shit baseline, but I end of this week do the first dunk. I'll film it, put it up on the pod. People can
All
critique
right.
it, and then February is the month of lifting. I'm going to start lifting
Mm.
3 days a week. So I'm excited. Got my gym membership. I'm all ready
Sick.
to go.
This is great.
This is gonna
This is
be.
great.
I'm
I
gonna
thought you'd
before
have
you know
given
it.
up by now.
No, no, no. I'm all in. I'm focused.
I'm getting going on mine too. My goal of the 200-pound bench press. So I'm doing my best, Gordon. So that way we can both achieve our goals in 2022.
I did. We were talking. I'm not sure you were in a group chat with one of our colleagues over at Mile Split, but we were given some spikes from a future sponsor, which is sponsoring the podcast next week. But what are your thoughts on lacing them up at Penn Relays and doing a little media 400 um,
Mhm.
in end of April? We can see how our fitness is going.
Yeah.
You, me versus Corey versus Brian Dybel
Mhm.
versus we'll get Olivia Ekpone who can just
That's
smoke us
not
all
fair.
because she can.
That's not fair.
Well,
Yeah.
we need a perspective. We need perspective. Like we can't win. We
Yeah.
need her to smoke us. So we have the perspective like, hey, you may have won this race, but you're still slower than her.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm down. I'll get last probably, and the thought of running in spikes right now terrifies me. My Achilles tendon just shivers just thinking about it. But yeah, I'll do it. I got a treadmill at my house now too, so I'm just gonna get. You got the gym membership. I bought the treadmill. We're just cliches of New Year's resolutions. Is what we are.
Yeah. But I feel like when you join a gym in February and not January, it has a different vibe.
Yeah,
Because joining a gym in January is like, all right, we get it. See ya. Well,
yeah.
you won't be here in 4 weeks. But I feel like joining in
Right, so
February is like, no, this is real.
we got a message from Tom. He said, "I did high jump in high school and college, and I have all the secrets to help Gordon dunk, but I'm a proud member of Kevin's Kings and can't help."
That's disappointing.
Come on,
That's
Tom.
really
Tom,
disappointing.
write us an email. Do me a solid. I know that you're loyal, and I appreciate that, but Gordon dunking at the age of first of all, I'd never hear the end of it. But with Gordon, I'm never going to hear the end of anything. So this will like replace Sixers talk or some prediction he made about some 200 runner 3 years ago. Like he's going to get in my face about something that he said he would do a long time ago or he got right a long time ago. I'd rather have it be dunking than Joel Embiid's stats. So let's try to help Gordon out as much as we can.
I did have a dream that uh, I
This is good.
documented this journey of
Uh-huh.
learning how to dunk again or for the first time, and it went
Mhm.
viral. And
Mhm.
the Philadelphia 76ers thought it was interesting.
Jesus.
And
Oh
you know
no.
what? Hey, we'll invite you to do your dunk attempt at end of
10-day Gordon.
December at the halftime in Philadelphia at a basketball game, and everyone's going to cheer for you. And then I thought about it, and well, this is literally my dream. And then I'm like, why are people going to cheer about like a guy just like slightly getting up and like doing like a fake dunk layup? Like,
Yeah.
are people going to really
I,
cheer for just like a 34-year-old dude doing a dunk? I don't know. But
would you
that's what
do
dreams
that
are
if
for.
given the opportunity?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was. I've won a slam dunk competition during a halftime show at a Philadelphia 76ers game.
Where's that
How
footage?
big
That
was
is
the
a
hoop?
true statement.
How
I
big was the hoop?
was I
Uh-oh.
was like 6, 7, or 8 or something like that. I was at a Sixers game. I was with my parents, and then like Sixers media people like, hey, do you want to be on a halftime show? They're looking for
Hmm.
kids, and then I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I got to go on the court at halftime, and we had like a dunk competition. Me and like 2 or 3 other kids, and it was a Fisher Price hoop, right? And then it was like, who you dunk and then they cheer. But like my dunk was, I did the Dr. J dunk where I just tried to dunk from really far away on a Fisher Price hoop, and I won. People cheer for me. It's one of those moments where I realized, God damn it, I wish I was a kid when people had like cell phones, because
Yeah.
I remember it but like I can never like relive that moment ever. Like it's only in my brain, which is kind of sad because like winning a slam
So
dunk
maybe it didn't
contest
happen, is what you're
at a
saying.
Sixers halftime. No, you can ask my parents. You can ask anyone,
Was
my
this a
family there.
dream too?
This was not a dream. I legitimately won a slam dunk contest at the age of like 6, 7, or 8. I don't even know how old I was. It was like
Here's the reason
the
I
Sean
ask.
Brad. It was the Sean
Here-
Bradley era of Sixers basketball. Remember Sean Bradley?
Yeah. Yeah. Just was
Yeah,
in a really bad bike accident. I saw.
yeah.
Horrible
Sorry.
news.
Ooh, okay.
Well, here's what I'm talking about though. With you at halftime, like if you miss, you're like a meme for life,
Yeah,
and you'd be okay with
that's
that.
true. Yeah, I'm okay with being a meme.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with being a meme. I
I'm
wasn't
wondering
no.
because people wouldn't be cheering for you to succeed. People would be cheering for you to fail. And then if you get rim checked and fall down, land on your tailbone, that's going to be your identity for a while. I mean, it might be,
It's okay.
you'll be known for something. So that's fun. But
Now that I think
they
about it,
won't maybe
because I did win a slam dunk contest at the age of 6 at a Sixers game,
dunking's in your
that
blood.
might
Yeah.
be a reason for them to want to invite me for my age 34 dunk of my life.
All right.
Like
All
they'd
right.
be
We
like,
got to
"Hey,
go.
full
This is too
circle.
much.
30 years
This is
later,
too
this
much.
guy's trying to do it again." They might have the footage. You have to think that's what I keep on thinking. There's got
Send
to
an
be
email.
footage somewhere.
Send an email.
You
Try to
think?
figure this out. Yes. I
Do you
mean,
think they
you got the
archive that?
compelling story now.
Do you think they archive that?
It depends how desperate they are for halftime content. But if they have it and they're saying this is the last time this guy dunked, it's been his dream at 34 years old to be able to dunk a basketball. Let's welcome him back, Sixers fans. And then they show on the Jumbotron the grainy old footage, Gordon Mack. And then they see how tall you are, and you're like, wait, this isn't that impressive if he can do this. And then you still don't do it, and everybody goes home
Yeah.
sad. All
Yeah.
right,
I
we're
should
done.
reach out to them.
That's the
Hey, do you
pod.
have the footage?
Thanks, Colt. Thanks, Travis, for producing. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you guys on Friday. We'll preview the rest of the Melrose games. Get excited. Remember, like Gordon said, you only have a few days to live in this moment of uncertainty of not knowing how good a thing Mo is. So walk
Exactly.
around today, breathe in the fresh air, and enjoy the fact that you are living in a specific time and place that will never be able to be replicated after Saturday. We'll talk to you guys later.